Imagine this. It's a quiet morning. A grandparent pours a cup of tea, and a grandchild wanders into the kitchen, curious about what's in the old recipe book on the counter. That small moment, simple, unplanned, may matter more than we realize. So here's a question: what daily habits can we nurture that truly keep grandparents and grandchildren connected across the years? Today, let's explore 5 daily habits that don't just pass the time, but actually build a lasting bond between generations. When we think about mealtimes, it's easy to focus on what's on the plate: soup simmering, bread being passed, or maybe a slice of pie waiting at the end. But the real nourishment often comes from what's being shared in conversation. A grandparent telling a story over breakfast or dinner turns ordinary food into a gateway to family history. It doesn't have to be a long speech or a perfectly remembered tale. Even a small detail, like how a grandmother once baked her first cake with too much salt, or how a grandfather rode his bicycle miles just to visit a friend, can spark laughter, curiosity, and sometimes even new questions that lead the child deeper into the family's past. These conversations make mealtime feel less like a routine and more like a chance to connect. Children, especially younger ones, love repetition. Hearing the same story about how grandpa used to sneak apples from the neighbor's tree never gets old to them. What may feel repetitive to adults becomes comforting and memorable to a child. Over time, those stories become part of the child's own identity. They begin to see themselves as connected to something bigger than their own day-to-day lives. It's not just food they're digesting, it's values, resilience, and a sense of belonging. There's also something about mealtime that naturally opens the door to these stories. Maybe it's the slowing down, the pause in the day where people finally sit in one place together. Unlike hurried car rides or quick chats, sitting around a table invites conversation. A grandparent might notice the grandchild picking at their vegetables and say, "You know, when I was your age, I used to hide peas under the edge of my plate." That small moment can flip a tense dinnertime standoff into shared laughter and a bridge across generations. Another quiet power of sharing stories over meals is that it makes the grandparents' life real and relatable. Children sometimes see older family members as distant or from another world. But when they hear about how grandma once got in trouble for climbing a fence, or how grandpa worked extra hours to buy his first radio, suddenly the grandparent becomes a person they can imagine at their own age. It makes the relationship feel alive, not just respectful but warm and personal. These shared stories don't require fancy setups, long explanations, or even perfectly remembered details. What matters is the willingness to share and listen. Each meal then becomes more than food. It becomes a daily tradition of passing on wisdom, humor, and family identity in ways that last far beyond the table. A daily ritual doesn't have to be grand or complicated to make a deep impact. In fact, it's often the tiniest routines that end up leaving the warmest imprint on our memory. When a grandparent and grandchild share something small each day, it creates an anchor, a sense of predictability in a world that often feels busy or unpredictable. For children who crave stability, and for grandparents who cherish moments of connection, these rituals can be the invisible threads that keep them tied closely together. Think about something as simple as a morning walk to the mailbox. It might not sound like much, but when done every day, it becomes their thing. The child learns to expect it, and the grandparent looks forward to that little slice of time where conversation flows naturally. Maybe they talk about the shapes of the clouds, or maybe they walk in comfortable silence. Either way, that daily walk transforms into a ritual that feels irreplaceable. Some families create playful rituals, like sharing a joke of the day. A grandparent can clip one from the newspaper or jot down a silly riddle, and the child waits eagerly to hear it. Over time, those laughs pile up into a treasure chest of joy, Another ritual could be something quiet and creative, like working on a puzzle for 10 minutes before bedtime, or doing a short prayer or gratitude list together. The activity itself doesn't have to be impressive. It's the consistency that makes it special. One of the overlooked beauties of these small rituals is how they teach children about commitment without feeling heavy. When a child sees that a grandparent shows up every day for a little shared habit, they learn what it means to invest in relationships. And for the grandparent, it provides a daily reminder of purpose. Even when health, distance, or energy levels make other parts of life challenging, that ritual, however small, becomes a joyful constant. The best part is that rituals grow with time. What starts as reading one bedtime story together can later become phone calls when the child is away at college. The ritual may evolve, but the emotional core remains the same. It's about showing up every day in some small but intentional way. In the end, these rituals prove that it's not big events or expensive gifts that make bonds strong. It's the steady rhythm of love expressed through simple daily actions. Inviting a grandchild into your world often feels natural, sharing recipes, gardening tips, or stories from the past. But the real magic sometimes happens when the invitation goes the other way. When a grandparent steps into the child's world, it's a gentle reversal of roles that communicates respect and curiosity, two things children rarely expect from adults. When a grandparent says, "Show me how you play that game," or "Can you teach me what that song means to you?" it flips the dynamic and makes the child feel valued and capable. Suddenly, the bond isn't just about passing down wisdom, it's about building a bridge that works both ways. For many grandparents, technology can feel like a foreign land. But for children, it's the playground they know best. Asking a grandchild to show how to use a new app, or even how to take a selfie together, might seem trivial, but it communicates a powerful message. I care about what you enjoy. That kind of engagement allows a child to see their grandparent not as someone stuck in the past, but as someone open to learning and connecting in the present. It can be surprising how much laughter and connection can come from a simple attempt to play a video game or watch a funny clip side by side. This habit also keeps conversations fresh. Instead of the usual, "How was your day?" which sometimes gets a one-word answer, a grandparent can ask, "What's the coolest thing you saw online today?" Or, "Can you show me your favorite part of that book you're reading?" These questions create space for the child to share something personal, while also making them feel that their interests are taken seriously. The exchange is not about mastering the child's hobbies, but about being willing to join them where they are. What makes this daily habit so powerful is the humility it models. Children grow up learning that relationships are not only about being guided, but also about being heard. When grandparents show they're willing to step into a grandchild's world, they teach by example that curiosity doesn't stop at a certain age. It's a living reminder that love is not about holding tight to only one way of doing things. It's about meeting each other halfway. Over time, these moments of shared curiosity plant the idea that family bonds are strengthened not just by tradition, but by the courage to keep learning about each other day after day. Celebrating small wins might sound like a simple idea, but in practice it can transform the way a grandparent and grandchild see each other. Children live in a world of firsts. The first time they tie their shoes, ride a bike without help, finish a homework assignment on their own. These moments may pass quickly for adults, but for a child they are milestones. When a grandparent takes notice and says, "I saw how hard you worked on that drawing," or "I'm proud of how you practiced your spelling today," the child feels that effort is recognized. This builds not just confidence but also trust, because the child learns that their grandparent truly sees them. The beauty of this habit lies in its simplicity. Celebrating a small win doesn't require balloons, cake, or a big announcement. Sometimes it's just a smile, a gentle pat on the back, or a short word of encouragement. Think of a grandchild practicing piano and stumbling through notes. A grandparent who says, "I noticed you didn't give up. That's what matters," helps the child connect success not just with perfection, but with persistence. That perspective can shape how the child approaches challenges in other parts of life. For the grandparent, these little celebrations can also bring energy and joy. Every small win noticed becomes a reminder of growth happening right in front of them. It's easy to get caught up in the big events, graduations, birthdays, holidays, but it's the ordinary days that often build the deepest bonds. A grandmother who claps when her grandchild finally learns to whistle, or a grandfather who cheers when they finish a puzzle, is not just celebrating a skill but saying, "I'm here, I notice you, and I care." This daily habit also helps balance the relationship with positivity. Too often, adults correct or guide children with good intentions, but if encouragement is missing, kids may only remember the rules. By making it a habit to celebrate small wins every day, grandparents provide a steady stream of warmth and validation that children carry with them. Even as they grow older, they'll remember the voice that said, "I believe in you." In the end, celebrating small wins isn't about the achievement itself. It's about building a pattern of noticing, encouraging, and honoring the journey. Those little acknowledgments ripple out, teaching grandchildren that growth deserves recognition, and showing grandparents that love can be expressed in the smallest, most ordinary moments. Keeping a shared journal or memory box may sound simple, but it has a quiet magic that can strengthen the bond between grandparents and grandchildren in ways few other habits can. Unlike passing conversations or even big family events, this habit leaves behind something tangible, a record of love, humor, and daily life that can be revisited again and again. Imagine a notebook where a grandparent writes a short memory from their childhood one day, and the grandchild fills the next page with a doodle or a thought about school. Over time, the pages become a dialogue across generations, a written conversation that captures not only words but emotions. For children, contributing to a memory box or journal gives them a sense of ownership and belonging. They get to add something of their own, a drawing, a small trinket, or even a leaf they picked up during a walk, and then see it valued enough to be saved. This teaches them that their experiences matter, that even their small contributions are part of a bigger family story. For grandparents, every entry is a reminder that their legacy isn't just about the past, but also about the shared moments being created right now. The beauty of this habit is that it grows richer with time. At first, it may feel like small pieces, ticket stubs from a movie, notes about a favorite meal, a pressed flower from the garden. But as months turn into years, these fragments weave together into a timeline of shared life. Years later, flipping through the journal or opening the memory box can spark laughter, tears, and storytelling that reconnects the family to its roots. A child who reads a note written in their own handwriting at age 7, alongside a grandparent's reflection from that same day, will see just how much love was poured into those little moments. There's also something healing about this practice. For grandparents who sometimes feel the pace of life has slowed, the act of collecting memories gives purpose and continuity. For children, it offers stability, a sense that even as they grow and change, there's a steady thread tying them back to their family. The ritual of adding something each day, or even each week, builds anticipation and joy. Ultimately, the journal or memory box is less about the objects and more about the message our time together matters. It says, what we share is worth keeping, worth remembering. And in the end, those pages or keepsakes become more than paper and trinkets. They become proof of a bond nurtured one small moment at a time. Bonding across generations doesn't need grand gestures. It's these small, steady habits, sharing stories, building rituals, stepping into each other's worlds, celebrating small wins, and collecting memories that leave a lasting mark. So, here's my invitation. What's one small daily habit you share with your grandparent or grandchild? Share it in the comments below. Your story may inspire another family to start their own tradition. And if you found this helpful, consider subscribing for more insights on family bonding and life after retirement. Because sometimes, the strongest connections are built in the quiet moments we almost overlook.